Hi, everyone. We just got back from Google Cloud Next, and we want to share some highlights. I'm here with Mike Leone, my colleague. So, Mike, the theme was Gen AI, and you've been covering that for a while. What were the key highlights and takeaways that you saw at the show?
Yeah, what an event. Look, Google continues to cement themselves as the leader in this space. They're innovating so rapidly across really the entire portfolio. So it really highlights a shift that we're seeing where, look, organizations want innovation. They want value from these AI and Gen AI investments, and Google Cloud's proving to be the partner to give it to them. And look, there were so many announcements. A big focus was around Vertex. That's their enterprise AI platform. They really continue to evolve this platform. I like the positioning, how it's really being positioned as an open platform. It sits on top of the Google Cloud infrastructure that's increasingly being powered by Google's TPUs. There was an announcement around the latest generation of TPUs and the performance, cost optimizations, power efficiency, et cetera. I want to hit on a few of the other announcements that I think really warrant some focus, specifically in Model Garden. Gemini 1.5 Pro, now it's public preview, up to 1 million token context window. That is massive. I believe that's the largest context window in the industry. To put it in perspective, right? That supports 700,000 words, 30,000 lines of code. And again, it's multimodal, right? So that's 11 hours of audio, 1 hour of video, just massive scale. Something else, Imagine 2.0, they highlighted live image support, watermarking. On the Anthropic side, I just mentioned this, but now Haiku and Sonnet are available in Model Garden. Their Opus is coming soon. The reason that that's a big deal, I don't know if you pay attention to some of the benchmarking that goes on in this space, but those models perform amazingly right now. They're leading the market in several, if not all, areas. The other piece I want to hit on, super important, enterprise readiness. I really, really liked the focus on enterprise readiness. One of the big components there, grounding with Google search. Obviously, there's been a big focus on reducing hallucinations, improving trust, and grounding is that avenue to get there. So there were some announcements related to bringing in enterprise data through RAG, but this grounding with Google search really lets organizations use public data, use Google search to ground and help cite a response, where it came from, why it came from there, et cetera. The other area that stuck out to me associated with trust and grounding is on the expansion of their MLOps services. So prompt management, side-by-side comparisons of responses through different models, explainability tied to those comparisons that can highlight why one response outperforms another with certainty scores and accuracy percentages, all that kind of stuff. So some really differentiable features there from Google Cloud, which I liked. And I mean, look, I've already highlighted a bunch. You can tell I'm excited about these things, but I want to turn it back over to you, Melinda, because security is such an important component to everything going on in this AI and Gen AI movement. What were some of the takeaways on the security front from you?
Yeah, you're exactly right. And I really love this theme where they're talking about what is enterprise grade. So they throw out all these improvements, all of these things that they're enabling developers to do, to build, and all of these amazing tools with high performance. But you have to make sure that the only way that you can get to enterprise grade is you need security, stability, resiliency. And if there are any security issues, is a point that I've been making, especially across all of the different hyperscaler shows, is if security teams can't handle this, they can't support it, then sometimes you have to go backwards and you can't do your digital transformation. You can't support that. So security has to be very important, and you have to make sure that you can scale and support that growth, support that technology adoption that's going to give you that competitive advantage. And we've seen so much about Gen AI is so poised to be game changing technology. So we want to make sure that security teams are poised to know what they need to do to set the right policies, to understand where it's used. And all of those things are areas where Google's trying to help customers. And it's really nice to see that they're doing a lot in these areas. So they have things like their unified data foundation with BigQuery, improving data management. And this is really what Google is known for, is the search capabilities. That is going to be really a helpful foundation to help with security, because you need the right policies, the right governance, the right visibility and control to make sure that you can secure it. So in terms of announcements, they actually talked about how they're applying their Gen AI to supercharge security operations. So applying Gemini to enable natural language searches for investigation. And this is something we've been addressing a lot in our research on cloud detection and response, how difficult it is to detect and respond quickly. So being able to add that, there's a lot of other CSPs who have talked about their Gen AI improvements, but applying it to security operations is, I think at Google, they're making a really good example of how to do that, where you're really helping, and they can demonstrate this in their demos of how they're using things like Mandiant's threat intelligence repository. They're using search and AI to help security analysts process the information for rapid detection and response. The other interesting announcement that came out was that their Chrome Enterprise Premium offer. So we've seen some startups in the browser security space. We know that employees are frequently working out of their browsers, and Chrome is a leading browser. And even if you're a Microsoft Office user, a lot of people work out of Chrome. So I see this as a great way for them to get more customers and expand their usage into Google Cloud Platform, and adding those security capabilities, enterprise features to help with issues, including things like malware and phishing that are harder for enterprises to. We see so many vendor tools for security, but there's so many fundamentals that are still difficult. Things like social engineering, malware problems. Those are things where Google can help because they have all of that data. They have the Gen AI where they can help aid humans to make sure that they avoid these malicious beings who are trying to attack them. So Google can really continue to expand its user base, and it's really nice to see them finding ways to expand. And I thought it was really interesting too, Mike, in the Q&A session with Thomas Kurian, he said that Google had 3 key differentiators spurring organizations to make this move and this migration. So cybersecurity was one of them. And then they also said data analytics and AI were the other 2. So I just talked about the advantages for cybersecurity. What do you think on him saying that data analytics and AI are their 2 strong differentiators?
It's funny, I didn't even mention some of the great analytics announcements that they made early on, right? So, Gemini availability within BigQuery and Looker, really taking data interaction to the next level. They can really combine structured and unstructured data in a single system and then enable customers to access that data no matter where it is. So that scalability and convergence is really the differentiator for them on the data side. And then if you add in some of the streaming announcements from the event, like BigQuery continuous queries and Apache Kafka for BigQuery, the ability to tune and ground multimodal LLMs using BigQuery data. The world is really recognizing the power of what a converged platform like BigQuery can bring to their business. So it's really scalability and convergence there of a trusted data foundation. Now, from an AI standpoint, they have that open enterprise grade AI platform in Vertex, and they're continuing to evolve that story. It's been pretty impressive, honestly, to see the changes they've already made within that platform over the last 12 months, just based on feedback and how quickly the market's moving. And of course, I mentioned some of the differentiation too they have just from a feature and functionality standpoint, right? The announcements around side-by-side comparisons. They're doing some unique things with synthetic data generation and distillation. It's really about empowering orgs to run right-sized models anywhere. So again, stay tuned for more from me. Melinda, any last thoughts here?
Yeah, just that ease of use for people to use Gen AI. And then when you think of security, having to not work as hard because of all those built-in features. And again, with Gen AI, to me, it's a lot of stuff that people are already having challenges in. Things like tagging data, being able to find it. A lot of people don't know where their sensitive data is. If all of that stuff is built in better, it makes it that much easier to adopt it while enabling security to do the things that they need to do, which is set those guardrails. So, Mike, thanks for being here with me today to give folks a quick idea. We barely scratched the surface. So, for those who watch, thanks for joining us, and be sure to follow us, and we'll be blogging and sharing a lot more information coming soon. Thanks for joining, and we'll see you again soon.